3, 2, 1, action. Hello and welcome back. We got another week, another bit of good sports to get you fully caught up on. Obviously, we got the two greatest in the building. No, I'm just playing. But, we're here. We're excited. Another week of Say Something. We got a great agenda as always. First, we're going to do our nice little tradition. Check in with my boy. Take your time. Check in with somebody if you're sitting with them, or just take time to think about somebody else right now. Put some good thoughts in the universe. We're going to do a check-in first, and then we'll get to the content.
Been doing all right, making a bounce back. Wasn't feeling too well last week, but I'm doing good now. Halloween was cool. Handed out some candies to kids. It was nice. It's a good time, man. I'm just chilling, ready to talk some sports. It's been too long.
Absolutely. I am feeling very, very similar. Happy Halloween to all you guys out there, by the way. I actually got a fair amount of energy today. It's one of those things where it's like I'm doing so much that it feels like it's giving me energy. I'm sure I won't feel that same way, give it a couple more hours or maybe even tomorrow morning when I'm having to get back up. But I feel good right now. And I just want to give an update. Last week, we tried to do a Halloween special. We had a little technical difficulties. I was in a dope outfit for y'all. So you guys were already showing love on the short, even though it was muted. So much appreciation. I'm going to make sure next time I'm back in costume, ready to deliver a Halloween special. Yeah. And we'll make sure my boy is here too.
I'll be here.
We'll make it happen because we know y'all definitely were feeling the way those visuals were looking. So we'll get it right for y'all. But I want to make sure you guys, get that happy Halloween pat on the back from us. And hopefully you guys got to enjoy that candy without too many cavity issues. Right. We all know now that we're getting older.
It's rough out here.
Chewing on that candy is a little debatable. You got to really, make tough decisions when it comes to those sweets now. But let me not shade y'all. I hope you got, the greatest that you could from all the candy, and you have zero thoughts of your mouth as you're eating it. And so, I think that other than the fact that I'm super excited to be here, the other thing that I will say is I feel like I'm truly, truly excited to be watching my soccer team, Barcelona. So I had to add them into today's show.
Of course.
Just so you know, on the back end, we'll have a little Barcelona update. And we also will make sure that my boy is putting a nice bow on that MLB season, as promised, since we weren't able to get y'all with that. Now we're going to just jump right into what we got at the top of the slate. That's the NFL Thursday Night Football.
Okay.
Let's talk a little bit about it. It actually looks like it's now 21-21. Is that correct?
21-20.
21-20. Thank you, sir.
Complete.
They did not get. Was it an extra point, or was it did they try to kick it and miss it?
I didn't see it, but
we don't know.
Clearly, they didn't make it.
If it was a 2, they missed. If it was a 1, they missed. So either way, that's what happened. 21-20. Always a good game between these two. You want to talk a little bit about what you see? Obviously, you got a little invested in the boy Jamar.
Yeah, man. I got Jamar Chase and Chase Brown in this game.
They've been
carrying my team a little bit the last couple of weeks. I need them to continue to do good. I know Jamar's at like 151 yards right now.
That's pretty good.
I need another touchdown. I need about 30, 40 more yards. Finish it off for me. But that's pretty much my investment in this game. I got Derrick Henry on one of my other teams. Who's been killing it.
Colossal.
So I think I was one of the few lucky people, or not few, but one of the lucky people that was able to capitalize on Alvin Kamara being very low.
Man.
Because I think I went Saquon, Derrick Henry for my first picks. And then for the third or fourth round, I was able to still get Alvin Kamara. So my running back stable is pretty nice on one of my teams because that's been carrying me.
That's a heck of a 3.
In this game, I like it. I think the Ravens can make a good push for the end of the game, but hopefully the Joe Burrow doesn't blow it and allow the Ravens to sneak away with one because they were just up 21-7.
Bro.
So they might blow this one.
Right. And it seems like this is the story of Cincy this year.
Yeah.
I mean, for all you Bengals fans.
4-5 this year.
And you guys are a good team, right? But it was like you started slow, then you got hot, and now you guys are kind of back to mediocrity again. And we all know that you can get hot and cold, but you can't just be that inconsistent and really have faith going into the last stretch. But you do know, just like the Raiders and the Chiefs, it's always going to be a close game for the most part. I mean, for some reason, these two teams they have each other's number. They know what's going to go down, and they always seem to keep it competitive just based off rivalry alone.
Right, AFC North rivalry team.
Yeah, but it looks, just to give an overview, it looks kind of like what you would think. Not a lot of throwing, minus that last huge play from Lamar.
Right, that was
which
tiptoeing.
You guys would have to see it to believe it. Because for us watching over here while we were getting ready to prep this show, I'm pretty sure if we're strong safety, free safety, we felt like we could do it. We felt like we might have a shot to stop that, right? Like you're still going to get a big play, but I'm thinking maybe not a touchdown, right? Take a better angle, please. Anyway, but a lot of running from the Ravens, a lot of throwing from the Bengals, kind of their go-to forte.
Mike Gesicki has been huge at tight end for the Bengals over the last few weeks.
Is he tight end one?
Yeah, he's a tight end one in fantasy right now.
But like maybe even
touchdowns.
But maybe even in that span might be tight end one in fantasy.
Overall,
maybe, do you think?
You know that boy Brock Bowers out there killing it for the weak ass Raiders. But
he is killing it. But is he scoring?
He had one last time, some garbage time from Desmond Ridder. That's who we're going with right now. Desmond Ridder's out there throwing bucket balls to Brock Bowers. Hey, fourth quarter, sure, we'll score now.
Right.
But I digress. We don't need to talk about the Raiders.
And we will get to the Raiders. He'll have a little short segment or however long he'd like it to be. But
that was it.
Knowing the conditions of that team right now.
I just told you, like JJ Redick.
Yeah. Mic drop. I just did it. That's that JJ Redick. Anyway, so, that's what's going on. I'm sure you guys are watching it. If the game does end while we're still live, we will give you that update. Mm-hmm. Next, we're going to go to the two hometown teams, like we just said. I'll obviously start with the Niners, and we'll leave a little space for the good old silver and black. Niner talk is very similar to what it's been for all of you guys who know what we've been waiting on. Mm-hmm. That's potentially coming, which is C-Mac, the return of C-Mac, the great white hope. One of the best skill players we've ever seen, and also so happens to be bringing it as an ethnicity that's usually not playing out of running back. So it's even more impressive. Mm-hmm. We love to see it. But hopefully he comes back and is ready to torch. I firmly, as a person who's been watching this the entire time, I don't think he's going to play as much as you guys think he's going to play. I think that he's going to come back. I think he'll have a package of I'm guessing 10 to 12 touches. That's what I'm guessing in terms of in order to feel it out. Now, if he's ripping and roaring, mm-hmm. Look, maybe they kick that up to 20. And maybe 12 is a little too light because I'm thinking, would they really give him 5 carries and maybe 3 catches?
Maybe 10 carries.
10 carries. Let's call it 10 carries and maybe 2-3 catches.
Right.
Right.
4 targets.
Right.
4 or 5 targets.
Right. We don't even want to overwork him right now, right? Mm-hmm. The whole goal is let's get this team right, just as we've done in prior seasons for a late run. We want the best of our team to be playing when we're headed towards the playoffs. It's happened, like I've mentioned before, 2 out of our 3 previous Super Bowl runs, we were 3-4, mm-hmm. Right? And so we're known for kind of starting slow, not figuring our team out, and then hopefully, just like prior, we get our, reinforcements at the right time. We kind of everybody settles in, mm-hmm. And by the time we're really playing the top end ball, we're ready to put forth our best foot. That's the goal here, right? But injuries still run rampant through this team. I'm super just and I'm not into the politics stuff, but I'm just taking a break from Nick Bosa. Mm-hmm. So I'm not going to act like he's on the team for now. So defensively, Fred Warner, he's going to have to hold it down, and our rookies are playing a lot, and mm-hmm. So that's something that's great on one hand, right? It's great to see our guys growing, but on the other hand, when you play the best teams, they're going to be vulnerable.
Yeah.
And I don't know if we have a time machine or enough time to get them right for mm-hmm. those moments, even though they're playing out of their mind, right? But it's asking a lot, and it's due to injuries. We have Jacob Cowling as our kick returner, punt returner. He's amazing. He was a 4th rounder. Mm-hmm. He's also having a couple of these weeks, he's had to play. He's actually had to line up out there and go make some catches. I mean, that's how short we've been at wide receiver. And then,
Ricky, we need you.
Ricky's back. Ricky got shot. Mm-hmm. And they're like, dog, we don't even have enough. Come here. Get off the gurney. Come here. Ricky's been playing well. He looks like he'll be a Brock Purdy favorite. Runs a lot of those tricky little routes, a lot of the ones that Shanahan loves to add into his packages. He's really good at running those, and he's versatile where he lines up. So I love to see how they motion him all over. A little bit like a more receiver version of Debo. That's kind of how I view the way he plays. And then you also have, guys like Malik Mustafa on the back end. Who pretty much, to me, is mini Dante Whitner. Really is not going to guard you much if the ball's going to be thrown in the air. But, if you want to come run up the middle or try to run to the sideline, he'll meet you there. And he'll have a nice greeting card for you. And then, we got Renardo Green, who really, to me, is probably playing the best out of all of them. He's one of those guys where it's like, is he even aware enough? Kind of like that Cole Palmer. They say Cole Palmer. This is kind of messed up. They say Cole Palmer is so dumb he can't even feel pressure.
Hey,
he's
so.
Like
Jonathan Abrams.
And I don't want to say. I feel like I shouldn't just say dumb, but he's so oblivious. How about that? That pressure is just. He's like, am I playing for Chelsea? Is this a big deal? I don't know. Is this any different than what I did before? And it just gives me kind of those similar vibes, where he's, what are you doing out there? But you're ready. Every time I watch him, it's that, oh, no. Okay, all right.
And then when it comes to Christian McCaffrey coming back, who do you think is going to be backing him up more? Is it Jordan Mason?
Definitely.
I know he's had shoulder issues, and Garindo's been solid for you guys. So do you think they're going to have a struggle for that second running back?
I think Jordan's done enough to earn it if he's ready.
He's still the fourth leading, fourth most in rushing.
Yeah, and if it weren't for the injuries and Derrick Henry, I think he'd probably be leading. Derrick Henry's obviously at a pace that's what? He cracked 1,000. I think it was last week, or I'm like, what? You have 1,000 yards? I don't even know if there's the cumulative running backs in our room have 1,000 yards. And the Raiders definitely, it's absolutely not.
They got 300. They're blowing it over there.
I had to drop Alexander Madison. That's a whole other story. But yeah, so I think to answer your question, I think Jordan Mason's earned it if he can be healthy. But I'm glad you brought that up because both of those two guys are also dinged up. And we just can't keep a running back on the field. But Garindo's also, I'm glad you mentioned him because he's also a rookie and also playing out of his mind.
Yeah.
Learned to run a little lower. He started off coming in. It was hard to watch. He ran kind of like you would see an X wide receiver, one of those guys that's just a straight downfield, like a DK kind of. And now that he's learned to get a little bit lower, you see him hitting the holes the way he's supposed to. He's able to read the field a little bit better because he's actually moving quicker, laterally. And, whether he realizes that or not, I'm sure he does now, and the coaches are highlighting that. But that change, we all watched happen, as he kind of got that first game integrated in, went for 99 yards, I think on 10 carries it was.
Yeah.
Those first couple carries were he's going for 2 yards or a loss. And then all of a sudden, he's figuring it out. I'm going for 60. I'm going for set, So I think that it'll be Jordan Mason backing him up, and then I think we'll get Isaac Garindo splashed in there because, like I said, you will not see C-Mac at full board. We're not going to risk it. And we do play the Buccaneers this week, who also are injury ravaged. They have
all their receivers out of there,
and that's my fantasy team. By the way,
Evans,
I'm not going to lie.
Mike Evans,
I'm not going to lie. Whatever happened this year, let's hope the karmatic stuff is over.
Yeah,
let's hope karma has swept through the fantasy lands for me because DK Metcalf, Evans, Godwin,
Rasheed Rice,
Stephon
Diggs,
and then I had
Shaheed,
Pacheco, and then I had McCaffrey.
Yeah,
that's all on the same team.
It's brutal out there.
There was 1 week where people didn't know how I was going to start a team. That was in the group chat. People were like,
everybody's in.
He's got Rome Odunze, wide receiver 1. Dude. Anyway, I still won that week, though. And that was the best part, was talking to the chat after that. Bro, what's up, boys? Anyway, enough of that. Let's get the Buccaneers. Let's knock them out the way. We know that Baker is playing very well, high-end ball, but the team is depleted. They're not going to give up. They're not going to play soft. They usually have a pretty good run defense. I haven't watched enough of the Bucs this year to know if it is what it usually is. I know they're
It's a
throwing
little bit of a back and forth right now. You got Rashad White, who's been up and down,
Right.
kind of injured, not injured. You got
Bucky
being the backup, showing flashes of being the guy who could be a number one, but he's sometimes is getting hurt.
Yep.
So they're
both
dealing with
dinged up.
injuries. So it's making it kind of a coin flip if they're going to be able to do good week by week.
Yeah. I also have both of them on my fantasy team.
Mm-hmm.
The same fantasy team. I'm not capping at all. Like, you would think I'm really joking. Yo, that team wants to quit. That team is ready to be like, hey, can you press delete? We're good. So I'm just the more he's mentioning, the further down the rabbit hole I'm getting.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so they're in shambles in a certain way with their offense, and then defensively, they've been giving up a lot of points. I don't know exactly how it's happening. It seems like their run defense is probably better than their pass defense.
Mm-hmm.
But Brock Purdy, we need you to show up. Let's play low mistake football or no mistake football. And I think that roster alone will get us through that. Right?
Baker Mayfield, I think, leading the league in touchdown passes,
absolutely.
and second in yards.
And he was first in both at one point. So yeah, he's definitely
been slanging it. But it does suck to not have a Chris Godwin and Mike Evans.
I mean,
they were both going crazy.
They were going.
I think Chris Godwin was like the number 4 player.
I think 100%. I think he was wide receiver 1.
He was going crazy.
Yeah, because
man.
Bro, and I drafted him so late. That was the biggest pain
as the flex.
Just imagine getting that as your steal.
Man, oh my god!
And then they're like, "I'm gonna take that right away. I'm gonna take that right away.
Needed that.
You don't deserve that."
That was damn near was an undefeated season.
Oh, bro, easy money, man. Anyway, so that's a little update coming out the bye week. We got a lot of people coming back. Let's hope Juwan Jennings is back as well.
Mm-hmm.
He's been in and out of the lineup. We all know Brandon Ayuk is down for the year. Let's hope Debo. Let's hope Debo is back. He had, I think it was pneumonia. Debo's always his immune system's always in, under attack. So we need him to take whatever that is, the extra vitamins, like we said. Go ahead and throw the Immune X, whatever that,
right.
Come on now. We need
they got some stuff in the NFL.
Come on. It might even be a shot at this point.
Mike's secret stuff. Come on. NFL edition, they got it.
Because at this point, you're going to have to be wide receiver 1, and you know that.
Yeah.
Hopefully those guys are going to be ready to show up. Usually after a bye week is when the Niners are able to kind of shake off some of those injuries and look a little more like the team we've expected. So let's hope that stays the same. The Raiders taking us in to the last bit of our NFL portion for the day.
2-7 now. Things just continue to go down, down, down. Got 2 shout-outs. I got Brock Bowers still killing it despite the questions at quarterback. 3 different guys so far. He's been a big target for them, as well as Jacoby Myers, another guy who's been able to get like 8, 9, 10 receptions per game, damn near 100 yards. So he's somebody who's been viable, as well as Brock Bowers for fantasy. Other than that, not too many highlights out there for the Raiders right now. A lot of people just getting traded away. I think the only thing they can really look forward to is the fact that Shedeur Sanders has been tweeting away after every loss. I don't really know what that means. I'm pretty sure the Raiders didn't trade to try and get Jaden Daniels, and the Commanders are 7-2 now. Why would they trade up to get Shedeur Sanders after that? I don't know. We kind of lost a good amount of the people that we had as skill positions that would be good for Shedeur Sanders or any quarterback moving forward. But maybe Shedeur sees something in our offense and thinks he's the missing link, and that'd be dope. But I don't know if the Raiders would be willing to pull the trigger. They'd have to really hope that they were a team that gets the 1, 2, or 3.
Oh, they'll have to trade up.
Because if they don't, why would you trade up now? Like you were just supposed to do that. It just bad moves by the front office. I guess this would make up for it, but you already missed out on a franchise type guy who you're now seeing flourish on a team that basically has nobody in terms of skill position players. You got Terry McLaurin.
Yuck.
And
I won't yuck that.
And you got like Austin Eckler.
I will yuck that.
And you got, Brian Robinson.
I will yuck
that. Nobody's writing home about those guys.
Nobody.
So if he can do that with that team, we had Devontae Adams, Jacoby Myers, Brock Bowers, a bunch of good guys, Michael Mayer out there. Trey Tucker, a lot of great skill players. So we should have made a move this year, especially if we wanted to keep all those guys, because now it's just like we're starting to look bare
Right.
bottoms.
It's got to be a
right
reset,
now.
basically.
Yeah, it's basically a reset. So
Right.
hopefully a guy like Shador or Cam Ward or something like that can be a guy that we actually target. We had like 7 rounds last year, right, to target any kind of quarterback. I mean, you even see Spencer Rattler out there. It's like we could have at least threw him out there if we're throwing Desmond Ritter out there. So I digress. You know, talk about the Raiders. It's rough. That's just how it is.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think it is exciting, though, in a certain way to see that for some reason Shador does seem to be invested in the Raiders. I mean, the Raiders are very, like, they're one of the more iconic franchises. So I think to people who feel like they have swag and feel like that they're really him, that is about as cool of an opportunity as possible. Like, and I feel like the one thing I will say is I think the Raiders need a guy exactly like that.
Yeah.
Who's like, I want to go there. I want to turn this thing around. You know,
well, that's what Devontae said. That's what Max Crosby said. That's what all these other guys said.
Right. But quarterback is the most important, though.
That's true.
You know, and
That's
so,
true.
like, if somebody can actually – Jamar just went crazy.
He just went crazy.
My bad, y'all.
He did, yeah.
Oh, he's so disrespectful.
He was doing that while I was talking.
Oh,
he's like,
so disrespectful.
I didn't want to stop what I was saying.
Yo.
Like, oh my God. He literally, like, stopped and walked backwards on the 1-yard line and waited for everybody to catch up.
I hope you guys are watching.
And then put the ball over the end zone line.
Yo, I apologize.
But my fantasy team's going crazy right now.
Yeah,
man.
Hey,
crazy work.
Oh my God, Jamar always goes off on Baltimore. I hope you guys, if you're not watching the game, I hope you watch the highlights. Seriously, there's been some real big plays in that game right there. But yeah, back to that. I just think that you want that kind of guy, right? Like to take on a project that is scary, that is big. The Raiders are one of those franchises where like they'll just chew you up and spit you out, and so you need a guy that really believes, like, nah, you can't do that to me. You can't chew up a diamond grill and spit it back out, you know. And I do believe Shador is that. He's also maybe the most marketable quarterback to be coming out in. Like the only person I can think who might vie for that is Archie. Yeah,
your boy Archie.
That's it. I mean, when you talk about next level attention, you talk about bringing the cameras, the clicks, the back. Dude, Shador will do it more than anybody.
Raiders, if you don't get Shador this year,
Cam,
or Arch the following year, you guys are done as a franchise.
Yeah, I'm even cool with Cam Ward. Like, I'm serious.
Yeah,
like,
sure, Cam Ward.
But I'd much rather Shador because Shador is committing himself. Like, he's tweeting, "Thank God," after every Raider loss. Because I truly believe that he thought the Raiders were going to be better, just like a lot of people did.
Yeah.
And so I think for him, he's like, is this destiny, basically?
Yeah, one piece away.
Is this destiny? And if I'm the Raiders at this point, I am chalking this season.
27. We've been doing that.
Right.
We've been doing that, buddy. It's been 20 years of that, buddy.
Said I'm sick and tired. I'm sick and tired. Okay, well, I'm just saying if there's a year to do it, it's now, right? And like Derek's saying, do not get hesitant with your trigger finger when it comes to this. Take the shot. You see the guy you want. Do whatever it takes. Go get him this next year. You're also then going to get the Dion blessing. You'll also probably by default get Shiloh Sanders, who's I think going to be a good NFL safety. Just do it. And honestly, him and Brock Bowers, that's enough for me to say, I'll start there.
Yeah.
I'll start there. And I'll bet
Jacobs.
I bet you Shador is looking at those two young tight ends going, and you'll block for me? Yeah, we can do that. Even better probably for him as a starting point than having two alpha wide receivers, truly, because they're not going to help what he's been lacking, which is getting hit too much, right? And so he's been lacking protection. They're not going to help. But those two tight ends and their stars, man, that could be a real nice thing. And to me, it's easier to find a wide receiver that will complement those two as opposed to how you're going to find a Gronk and an Aaron Hernandez. No, they're going to fluff a little Julian Edelman.
The player.
Yeah, for real. For real. So anyway, that's that. Raiders, get your game together, man. Hopefully Shador's there next season. I mean, that'd be the most purchased jersey, I think, in the NFL.
Yeah. That'd be nice.
That would be hard. All right, NBA. As promised, As always, we got Dubs talk in the building.
Let's go, big Dubskis.
And
you see it all over.
And a lot of Dubskis have been linked with Dubskis lately.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so we're chasing the letter W, and we're catching them. We are now 7-1, I believe.
5-0 on the road.
Absolutely cooking. We just went against the Celtics. I don't know if you guys know who those guys are. It's quite a historic franchise. Right. Quite a historic franchise. Also believed to be by far the best team in the NBA right now.
Right.
They were missing Jaylen Brown, let's be clear.
And Kristaps.
And they were missing Kristaps. Kristaps, I'm less. Like, Jaylen Brown is real. Because Jaylen Brown goes dumb on us.
Hype is always a big
No, it is. It is. You're right. But
I mean,
we're hot.
Blood yesterday, who was the center? He was a nobody, and he was doing his thing.
Going off on us?
He was like Oda or something
yeah. Queta.
Yeah,
bro.
You know
who came from the Kings. Yeah. I wanted us to get him.
Yeah.
What's crazy is when the Kings released him, I was really hoping we were going to pick him up. And for exactly that, where it's like, don't need him to do much but that.
That's it.
Block a couple shots. Run to the rim. Dunk that thing. You can rebound. And he was hitting his free throws.
Yeah.
Thank you. But anyway, let's not do too much hating on the Warriors with the position they're in. They're obviously made Dunleavy looks like he made moves that matter this offseason, right? The guys who have come in have made about as big an impact as we could have imagined, at least at this point. Still have a long way to go. Nobody's looking at 7-1 going, this now defines where we end up. But I do think it makes it realistic for the Warriors to start actually looking at what's next. What are we doing with this? How's the core going to shake out? So I just want to let Mitch real quick just talk a little bit about what's gotten us here. So a little just about the team, who's playing well. And then we'll talk a little bit about maybe what the future holds.
Yeah, I mean, it's like you just said, we got some good contributions. Guys like Buddy Hield have been going absolutely crazy. 50% from the three-point line already. He probably has the most three-pointers in the league right now. And then less on the scoring side, more on the playmaking and just team camaraderie side. We have Kyle Anderson, who's been absolutely killing it. Slow-mo actually had 3 threes in the last game. Helped us get that W against the Celtics. So they've both been great additions. DeAnthony Melton hasn't been able to play as much. He's been dealing with some ailments. So hopefully he can continue to come back and play for us and put in quality minutes because we do kind of lack at ball handling. When we didn't have him and we didn't have Draymond, we were relying on Pajimski to do it all, and he was still looking kind of erratic, looking more like a shooting guard than a point guard when he had the ball in his hands.
He's shooting 19% from the
he's looking gross right now. He's got to figure it out. He has had the mask on this season, so maybe that has been affecting him a little bit. I know that can't be easy to play with.
It's gross.
Andrew Wiggins has been doing solid for the Warriors this season in the games that he's played in, averaging about 16, playing some good defense.
Welcome back.
Yes, and we have our young guys finally getting some minutes, 26 minutes or 23 minutes, and then 18 minutes for Jonathan Kuminga and Moses Moody alike.
Come on now.
Both those guys have really been showing up. Kuminga has been showing great flashes, still very sloppy when he's out there, trying a little too hard to get to the paint. Maybe not understanding when he needs to shoot and when he needs to drive. There's a lot of times where it seems like his mind is only on attack. And it's like if the guy's playing 3 steps back off of you, it's going to be hard for you to attack. I know he's so strong and so big to go around these guys and so lanky to get layups.
Right.
But there's too many times where it's like, all right, you just totally flailed and the ball just went. We just turned the ball over off of nothing.
And they have a fast break.
Yeah, and they have a fast break, easy points. Again, I'm not trying to harp too hard. We are 7-1, and you have been showing signs of improvement. I just want to see a little bit more maturity and just kind of not forcing your way into scoring because we already know you can score if you're given the opportunity to be open, but just try a little bit more off-ball movement to the basket, more cutting to get your points. And then, he did have some good three-pointers. There was a play that the shot clock was running down. We threw it over to him. He just threw it up from the three-point line and made it. That
sounds about dope. Right. Yeah.
But just understand that, not everything has to be a drive. If you can lure the guys out a little bit with a couple of made jumpers, you're going to be blowing by guys all the time, especially if they play up on you because I don't think anybody in the NBA can really keep up if they're playing up close and personal on him. he's right by them, and he's big enough, long enough to just dunk it down on you. So shouts out to Kuminga, and then Moses Moody pretty much showing what we've always been talking about here. What we've always wanted to see is him getting the minutes with the second squad, and then being somebody on the back end to fill in for somebody in a rotational spot with the first squad.
Yes.
The guy can hit open three-pointers. He can get to the basket on his own as well. He's somebody who's always been a scorer, but also has had the IQ on defense to really step up and be somebody who can play, especially when it comes to clutch time.
Bro.
He's somebody that they, especially Steph, I feel like can really rely on to hit those threes on the kickouts and then the late shot clock times.
Mm-hmm.
You pass it out to him, and he's clutch. Other than that, Trace Jackson-Davis and Kevon Looney have been absolutely remarkable.
Bro, that's the best word.
Offensive boards.
Remarkable.
You really can't ask for anything more from these very undersized big men. They're pretty much the guys who hold it down for us down low, and they've been doing a great job. Just really shows their great IQ and understanding of what their job is for the Warriors. And I think that's the main reason, especially with Draymond just kind of being the guy to pretty much do anything and everything. He's not really going to give too many triple-double games anymore. There's not a lot of double-digit scoring that he's going to be doing, but he's just somebody who knows how to win, knows how to put people in the right positions, especially with our defense doing so great this season. We've been really, that part down, and that's really sent us on a lot of fast breaks, and then shooting 50% from 3-point line, 40% from Moody, 40% from Steph. It's just if those guys are shooting like that all the time. I mean, if you've been watching, Buddy Hield has been absolutely going crazy, and it starts from his first shot. Every first shots he puts up, switch, just splash. So it seems like he's having a great time out there, having so much fun, basically being Steph's new Clay.
Yeah.
As you've seen when he made that
splash buddy.
When he made that clutch three towards the end of the game, basically our dagger, that boy Steph was over there like dancing. Like they was having a good old time over there. So he's loving the efficiency that he's getting from Buddy. And if they can keep this up, it's going to be really hard to beat the Warriors.
Yeah.
And if they decide to, maybe what we're going to talk about in a second, like try to add somebody else and make some other moves, I think just right now the strength in numbers is really showing.
Bro, 100%. My bad. First of all, got to applaud him for that breakdown right there. That was phenomenal. I think he touched on just about every last thing that brings us to the 7-1, including was it 118-112 victory over the Celtics last night, which was, something that we needed to see. At the end of the day, sure, we're shorthanded, blah, 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 but we needed to see this team line up against champions and just show grit, right? We still were missing some people. We didn't have Melton. There's some guys that are going to get key burn for us. And just one dude that I want to give a shout out to, Kyle Anderson. Mm-hmm. This dude guards everybody, doesn't make turnovers, and seems to be, he's like a hold-up 9 in soccer. Mm-hmm. He's like that guy that he allows everybody else to play well.
Was it Crouch?
Yeah, exactly. I'm going to allow you to do what you need to do.
Lukaku.
Exactly. And don't worry, I'll get it there right on time. That is just how I feel with Kyle Anderson. He seems to fit our system perfectly. And a debate for another show, not this one, will be, I heard a very, very hot take about Buddy Hield from Gil's Arena. So I'll make sure I write this for our next agenda because it's full enough to actually straight up go into as a section. But they were saying they believe Buddy Hield's skill set is better suited to be a Warrior than Clay's was. And that if Buddy had got drafted to the Warriors, he would be easily what Clay was. And that
debatable,
bruh. I think that's super debatable. I think it's super disrespectful to Clay.
Yeah,
but it is something that we should talk about because with this hot start, there's a lot of conversation from people who are not in the Bay Area about who is this? Now they've unlocked Buddy Hield, of course.
Offensively, because my man Buddy be getting singled out all day on defense. Torched. He's getting torched.
Yeah, that's the point.
Let's not take that away. My man gets torched and targeted on defense.
Right. And let's be clear, too. Klay Thompson scored 60-plus points on 11 dribbles. There's not players in the NBA that do that. That's just not a thing that gets done. And what it speaks to more than anything for me is that's a different kind of strap.
Yeah.
That's a I can't miss COD top shot of cheat codes on done deal. That's I'm not even here. I'm out of my body. And I don't see a lot of that from Buddy Hield. Now, consistency wise, I think that Buddy Hield can be much greater of a player in our system. And I think if you're speaking to that, I'll get down with that. I think he could have been an all-star a lot more frequently if he had been drafted to our team.
Right. Yeah.
I will take that. But I think people are forgetting, and I love what Derek brought up. Clay was locking
everything
for a while there. I'm talking about Steph wasn't guarding anything.
Anybody.
And prime Clay was getting the assignment over KD, over obviously Steph, but over like anybody else that we were putting out there.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm not putting Buddy Hield on me.
Also, I do, like, last but not least,
real talk.
Guy who we didn't have all of last year, who's been injured. If he can stay healthy, and Gary Payton II,
been Beasley.
He's been a great small big for us. He does all the big. He's basically our 4 when we're on offense.
Yes,
and then just guards whoever on defense. So he's somebody, if he can stay healthy the whole entire season, will absolutely kill it on defense, especially for us. And occasionally can hit the open shot with the lefty stroke.
Yeah. Him and Pods might be some of the best boxing out littles that are around. Like when you watch them both playing, bigs are getting their knees chopped. I mean, they're coming in there and they're immediately like, yeah, I'm cool. I'm good. I need the ACL, MCL. So anyway, let's hope for a hot start. And this kind of leads us into the perfect little segment, like Mitch was saying. Will the Warriors make a move? You know, there's been all the talk about it. I do think the Warriors are probably the most trigger-happy team right now in terms of just itching to make something happen. And the debate for me is, are they looking at this start as an overachievement or as a true reflection of what they think this team will be? What do you think? Do you think they need to make a move? Do you think this is an overachievement? Or do you think this is actually potentially what this roster can kind of do?
I think this is just the definition of strength in numbers right now. I mean, everybody's contributing, so it's hard to break up that kind of team chemistry just to try and get somebody who, you know, it might take 3 or 4 guys from our team to get who we're thinking about in return. So that might mess up in terms of just like the depth of our team, which seems to be our strength right now. It's been like a 1 through 9, everybody producing.
There's
even Lindy Waters. 12. Yeah, even Lindy Waters is out there doing this thing.
Killing.
So, you know, I think it's a threat to losing that kind of team chemistry.
Right.
But at the same time, it really kind of comes down to who we want to get.
If the right guy.
Yeah, if the right guy can come in. And I don't really know who that is after the guys we went for in the offseason didn't want to come over.
Right.
And then with the NBA standings, it's only been so long. It's only been about 9 games. So it's like, hey, what are we really gonna do here? Are we gonna just run this for a little bit? I think, as well as just like figuring out if Kuminga is gonna be a guy. I think we finally have allowed him enough minutes and enough time to actually be able to see the results.
Yeah.
And so if he's able to continue to get better throughout this season, I think, again, right now for me, it's a lot of big talk for somebody who's still not reaching the full potential quite yet, in my opinion.
100%.
So I think we need to, you know, maybe even 2 or 3 more minutes per game to kind of see what we really have with him. I know, again, he's only about 21 years old, but if we're like, this is the moment when we have to decide, are we going to trade him or are we going to
straight up
him? So we really need to see if he's somebody who, are you going to start making a lot of smarter decisions? Because right now, there's a lot of, I don't want to just outright say dumb, but a lot of bad decisions being made sometimes. And it kind of sometimes outshines all the good that he does.
For sure.
It does, you know, it helps that we're winning right now, so we can't really harp on a lot of his mistakes. Right. But still, I need to see the IQ, you know, raised a little bit more because the physical talents are obviously there.
Yeah. I don't know if he fully understands our offense nor defense. Like, that's kind of the vibe that he gives. And when you see Steve Kerr yelling at him, it's got to be what it's about. Like, Steve Kerr is fuming. Like, he's probably getting the most of Steve Kerr's attention right now, and he's the first person who got removed from the starting lineup. So that kind of goes against what he's saying, but also goes right with what he's saying. Where like I do think we need to click his minutes up, but also clearly he's showing stuff that is kind of irritating some of the front office and coaches. So I would second that. I would say we got to give it some more time. You can't ever break up what's winning.
Right.
So don't break what's not
maybe
broken.
like 25 games. Maybe like right around there.
Yeah, I would say the deadline. Like I would say we could. Well, for me, it's like you could take one look when all the guys who were free agents become available, right? So everybody who had signed, I forget what date that is.
Yeah.
But when that date comes and basically the whole league is available, okay, we can start fishing around, seeing what's there. But like Mitch is saying, we got something good going here, and we're beating teams with what we feel our strength is, which is depth. And so it's not like these are fluky victories. We're blowing most teams out. We're up by 20 in a lot of these games.
Yes.
Even against the Celtics, we went up 14.
I mean, that Rockets game, we were up by 30, and they
almost
came all
gave
the way
it back.
and then won in overtime. But that was a gross game.
Yeah. And, our only loss is to the Clippers, which was terrible. Like, we literally gave that one away. So, we easily could be undefeated. I just think you got to give these guys some more time to gel, and you got to see if these youngsters are who we think they can be. And I think by giving them enough minutes, no matter what, it'll be good for their stock. So, even if we decide, hey, man, we got to pull the plug on this, I think that will have made our investments look better to others.
And can we keep up this shooting?
Right.
There's some really, really good shooting right now. So what if those shots go down a little bit?
Right.
But he regresses to 40%.
Right.
Are we still winning these games?
Right. I will say we do seem to have the roster to do it.
Yeah.
We got a lot of 3-point specialists, and they love this spacing. I mean, they're running around like, are you kidding? Like, we're all out here. Like, what are you going to do? But you're completely right. Like, if the percentages obviously are going to drop a bit, I mean, we're not going to hold at shooting, mid 40s.
I mean, Steph, 42% from three. Buddy Hield, 50. Andrew Wiggins, 40. Moody, 48.
Right.
Draymond, 43. You know what I'm saying?
Like, definitely some of that's
40. You know what I'm saying? So it's like,
some will regress. Some will probably go up a bit. Like, I think when Lindy, some of those guys can probably hit 43s, 42s. And then, of course, the Draymond Greens will probably end up at 33%, right? Or less.
18.
Yeah. I mean, so he better. Pajemski was shooting like 38%. So, like, that's one of those where if you looked at the overall numbers, I'm like, that offsets everything. So, like, if we just get some sort of transition of Pajemski back to being able to hit a three, then I'll let some of those guys regress a little bit. But it's a great point, and let's just hope. But I think you just have to sit back, watch, allow things to play out, and know that no matter what, other teams are liking the way we're looking.
Yeah.
Last thing I will say, real fast, Lakers sent Bronny down to the G League after appearing in 4 games for the Lakers. Not a lot to talk about other than saying, kind of saw this coming. Wish well for the kid. Lakers are actually decent this year. They look like they, obviously if you have LeBron James on your team, you have to play for this year.
Yeah.
So, it just seems like he was always in over his head. Did I think that, it was going to be appearing in 4 games and then gone? Probably not, but I guess that, they got the history stuff out the way.
Yeah.
They got to check all the, the large, like milestones off or whatever. And now it's like, let's get back to reality.
We already got Gabe Vincent, who's like a G League player.
Literally.
We don't need another one now.
Literally. Let's go call up an actual grown man and see if we can get him to play alongside LeBron. So that's that. And then lastly, there are rumors of the Knicks trading for Karl Anthony Towns due to a potential swap for Giannis. We're not going to talk about that a lot either. I just wanted to put that out there. That's one of the crazier takes that I've heard.
Giannis to the Knicks. That'd be nasty.
But it does make sense in terms of the Knicks trying to stockpile things that they feel like could eventually get them the shot at one of their most desired players. I think that they don't want to break up that core. And so by slotting something, they weren't going to be able to like hold Julius Randle. His contract was coming up. And so I think Karl Anthony Towns in their eyes for most of the league has even more value than a guy like Julius Randle. And so, if it continues to – Karl Anthony Towns is going off. But if it continues to not be a super workable fit, and then that ends up coming out as maybe that was the reason, because there are rumors that literally that's the reason they pulled the trigger on it. I just think it's something to keep in mind and just keep your eye on. One of the wild rumors going around right now.
Yep.
Next, we have our MLB season wrap-up, which, of course, Mitch has got you guys. As always, he's held you down for basically this whole season, or at least the second portion. The entire time we've been doing this, he's been holding y'all down. So it's only right that he gives you the finishing touches on what has been a pretty eventful 2023-2024 season.
I mean, LA Dodgers took it this year, beat the Yankees. The Yankees bullpen there. They couldn't really hold up. They were solid for the whole postseason up until the World Series, and then they couldn't really hold it
ever
against a great hitting team in the Dodgers.
True.
Shouts out to the Dodgers, your World Series champions this year. We'll keep it short and sweet because we got some good football coming this way. The Dodgers team looking to try and repeat, have Shohei Ohtani potentially coming back next year, being another pitcher in their rotation.
Says they're going after Soto.
Says they're going after Soto, who, like he just said, he's going to be a free agent coming up from the Yankees. They're not sure if they're going to be able to bring him back. I know he's going to be seeking like $700 million, just like the boy Shohei. If the Dodgers are willing to shell that out, that'd be absolutely crazy.
I will cry.
Because they have their own free agents to worry about as well. They have Walker Buehler, who came in and got the last out in the World Series for the Dodgers. They have to worry about paying him. Jack Flaherty, another guy in their rotation. Are they going to pay him and bring him back?
Yep.
Kike Hernandez, a solid rotation guy. He's a utility guy, plays all infield. Teoscar Hernandez, an all-star for them. They have to figure out, are they going to be able to bring him back? Joe Kelly, Clayton Kershaw, and Blank Trinan, three guys who are all great pitchers, and they're pretty old on the old side, so we'll see if they decide to bring them back. I know Blake Trinan has some of the nastiest stuff out there.
Whew.
Every one of his pitches goes every other way, and they all start from the same arm slot, so he's absolutely nasty. Of course, he was never great for the A's. He was always getting smacked around, but that's just a side effect of playing for the A's. See him on the Dodgers now win the championships. And then on the flip side, for the Yankees, they have a lot that they need to also figure out for their team as well. Like we just said, we got Juan Soto out there. Biggest question mark of them all. Will they be able to bring him back? They got guys like Alex Verdugo that they had this year who was solid for them. He's going to be gone potentially. Gleyber Torres, another guy who was absolutely amazing at the leadoff position during the playoffs for them. You got Anthony Rizzo, another solid player for them. They've been trying to figure out first base for a long time over there for the Yankees since basically Mark Teixeira was playing for them. So maybe they bring him back. Maybe they try and find another bat. Somebody like a Vladdy Guerrero is somebody that they could definitely target, and they were even talking about this past year. And then for the pitching, you got their closer, Clay Holmes. Are they going to be able to bring him back? And Lou Trevino, another great reliever for them. So a lot of questions for both teams that just were in the World Series. Obviously, the Yankees got a little more to think about being the losers. And then the Dodgers still got their absolutely amazing core of Mookie Betts, Freddie Freeman, and Shohei Ohtani. We'll just see who they can fill in around them moving forward to see if they can win and repeat next season. Other than that, we got other free agents. You know, we'll get to that when we come back around.
Off-season special.
It's off-season right now. Not too much going on, but parades and times in Mexico.
Right.
So we got vacation baseball right now. Go check out the Mexican League. Go check out Puerto Rico. Go check out Japan.
Elsewhere.
All these other leagues are playing, but right now the MLB is Dunsky, and so are we with the MLB wrap-up right now.
Straight up. And so before, we close out today's show, we got to give him his props. That was a whole season in the books right there. That's a salute right there. That's baseball general right there.
Yes, sir.
So we appreciate that. I feel like it helped my fantasy team baseball-wise. I won 3 out of 4 of my leagues.
My man's favorite player now, Bobby Witt.
Oh, loving Bobby. Man, I was hot when I drafted him, too. He was like, nah, you did good. I'm like, really? And then, oh, my gosh.
Number 3.
Yeah.
Number
Nasty. 3. Another highlight. Make sure you're watching the Bengals and Ravens. This is not a joke.
Back and forth.
This is not a joke.
Holy.
But yeah, so I want to close today's show with a little soccer football, he was saying. My boys, I'm a Barca fan, Barca fanatic. We're also going to leave space. My boy's from Portugal. We're not going to do that today, but, we're going to have a World Cup special. So you got to know he'll be repping his guys. He's got Portugal covered
to the death.
And I'll be covering Colombia, and we'll both be covering the United States. So we got y'all when it comes to international soccer. And if you guys are fans of any players of any of those countries, drop who you're fans of, or you can drop the country you're a fan of. All of that works. We want to see
your
it.
flag.
Yeah, we want to see it because we're going to be touching on a lot when it comes to the world of soccer as we move forward. So don't think this is just a singular thing. But tonight, I'm going to handle business.
Mr. Worldwide.
So, Barca update, what we got is, if you haven't heard who Lamine Yamal is, you need to go figure that out now. This kid is 17 years old.
Teenage wonder.
Man, I don't know.
Kid.
I don't know if I've seen anything like it. I mean, we've watched Messi. Messi was amazing. I'm not saying he's better than Messi. They're different. He's a lot at this stage. I would say he's bolder. Yeah. He's also playing with a worse team in terms of like when Messi got brought up. I mean, it was
ballers.
Like Ronaldinho, Eto'o, Thierry Henry. I mean, it was guys.
Xavi, Iniesta, all the
Busquets, Puyol. So
it was big balling.
It was clear, you're going to have to really earn your way here. We're not just passing you the rock. Whereas Lamine Yamal has kind of ascended to being one of our better players on this team at 17. Yeah. So they are feeding him the rock a lot, and they're asking him to do a lot, and he's answering.
Been that boy.
He's answering the bell. I'm going to pull up these stats right here because these are just lovely. We got, so far, Lamine Yamal is 5 goals, and he has 7 assists in 12 games. So that would be 12 goal contributions in 12 games at 17 years old in La Liga.
Big balling.
That's
for the bees.
That's a lot going on. And the guy is really even more influential than I would say the stats show. He does some plays that are similar to Messi in terms of just what it does to the morale of the other team. Some of the passes he's doing are hurting people's hearts.
He's really doing some nasty stuff.
He's doing I'm telling you, there's a lot of people in the world of soccer who are confused. They're like, we don't know what we're watching. He should
not be this good.
We don't know what we're watching. And he had no transition. I mean, he had no transition time. There was zero moment where they were like, all right, he's got to figure it out. It was like, literally since they called him up, they were like, he's the GOAT, watch. And it just kept happening. So we got to pray he stays injury-free because Barca's always been cursed with getting their youngsters hurt. Yeah. Knock on wood. Please stay injury-free because he's also doing it for Spain.
Yeah.
So it's not one of these things where he won the Euros.
Coming up next.
And so it's not one of these things where it's like he's only performing in one place, kind of like Messi was.
Yeah.
This guy is at this point leading both of the major clubs that he's playing for to the top.
Yeah.
To the top. You also got to look at Robert Lewandowski. I mean, 37 years old. My boy in 12 games has 14 goals.
Woo!
With 2 assists. So he is, you want to talk about a poacher, a hunter. That is who Robert Lewandowski is, a 9, a true 9. And he's playing like he has people who will get him the best service in the world, which I truly believe at this point, Barcelona is providing some of the best assists that world soccer has to offer. You look at, like I said, Rafinha as well in 12 games, 7 goals, 6 assists. So that in itself is, he has more than a goal contribution.
And he had a hat trick not too long ago.
Not too long ago against
Real Madrid.
Absolutely cooked them alive. But Danny Olmo, this guy's played in 5 games. He has 5 goals.
Bro, he's on some Ribéry with the
it's
so gross.
He's so gross. And he's just it's a hideous fellow. But we love him though.
Right.
And 5 goals in 5 games. The dude is absolutely balling. I believe
Spaniard.
I believe
he can do just about anything.
Literally plays
the whole squad.
Right mid, left mid. I mean, right wing, left wing. That's kind of what is happening with this squad. They're all interchangeable.
They're all it reminds me of. They're basically the opposite of Portugal. They can do everything, but they can actually score too.
Yeah, exactly.
It's the same, but these guys actually all can hit the back of the net.
Yeah, lots of versatility and lots of variety in how they approach their formations, which also makes them even harder to guard game to game. Yeah. I mean, we switch through a 4-3-2-1. We'll go 4-4-2. I mean, we shift through formations because just like Mitch is saying, our coach is not worried about where he's putting the guys. They're going to figure it out.
Yeah.
Right? And a lot of these guys play with each other so often, and with Spain, I mean, we always have a lot of Spaniards. We're one of the bigger Spanish clubs, and so these guys are lit. Sometimes it looks like they're playing in their sleep. They're just like, these are my people, these are my friends. We play year round together. How would I have missed that pass?
And I feel like you get that. Obviously, you have the older guys and the Lewandowskis, but a lot of the major role players, like you said, are very young. And you typically get that out of young guys.
Yep.
Hey, yeah, everybody, the whole team, we're all having fun out here.
Yep.
It's all cool. There's not too many egos out there, and it's just about producing.
100%. And that's exactly what you see. You see La Masia at its greatest, which everybody who watches Barca knows we never really can get to our peak without La Masia being at the core.
Yeah.
When we try to buy it on the outside, we try to go with all these external sources, we end up losing money.
Yeah.
That's what got us in debt. When we end up building a team from the inside out, there's not a lot of teams that have a La Masia. So instead of selling these guys early like we did in that period where we lost a lot of money, we're selling these guys as they're coming out of La Masia for $1 million here, $1 million there, and they're growing up into being Danny Olmos. I mean, that's what we did with Danny Olmo. We sold him off for like $3 million when he came out of La Masia. Yeah. Now we had to buy him back for 65. Right? And so right, that'll get you in debt, right? And so we got to focus. I love Hansi Flick, our German coach. That's the first thing he said when he got in here. I'm not about to ignore those guys. As a matter of fact, I will look to start them over anybody else. And if it doesn't work out, then of course I'll look elsewhere. That's the goal of where I'm starting at. He brought up Bernal. He's brought up Casado. He's brought up Pablo Torre again. I mean, he has a lot of these youngsters that we're not even seeing all the time. Alejandro Balde. You know, there's Gerard Martin. There's a lot of great ones. Pau Cuparsi, who might be my other favorite, who I'm going to bring up right here as well. The other 17-year-old gem out of La Masia, center back. This guy is
locked down.
Oh, my God. He might be Puyol again. He gives me a lot of Puyol vibes with a mix of PK. I mean, Puyol was so aggressive and physical that he's not there yet, but he's also 17, right? But the guy's so smart. He has the touch of the Spaniards, so he makes those passes out the back. And that's what you need with a team like us, because we love to set up from the back. And so if you can't make the short and long balls being our center back, it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. So last thing I'll say is, you know, we got the boy Mark Casados, who I want to really, really highlight. I believe Bernal, who also was 18, he had the ACL injury. I believe he would have been in this position. I believe I'd be shouting him out right now if it weren't for that injury. But I actually, now that I've watched Casado play, I'm not sure if they wouldn't have been starting alongside each other as our two DMs. I mean, that's how serious this is. Casado is amazing. He's a lot like the kind of Iniesta, Xavi era Deco. He kind of reminds me of Deco. Very good at passing, but is going to get it done defensively. And that's when Portugal was at their best, when they weren't having like the Paulinhas, those kind of players having to like start the offense. When you have a little more versatility in the start of your offense, I think people like Leao, not to get on a tangent, but they feel more comfortable. Right? I can do more things when I know you can hit different kinds of passes to me, and I don't have to like run to you to get something going. So if you're not watching, you need to check in on those guys. Those teenagers, phenomenal. They're absolutely getting business done. And just real fast, I want to read off the matches that they played in real quick. 5-1 Sevilla, 4-1 Bayern Munich. That's in Champions League. 4-0 Real Madrid. That is El Clasico with La Liga. 3-1 Espanyol, which is, you know, another good La Liga team. Decent, but we got it done. 5-2 Red Star Belgrade. That's Champions League. That is a pretty fire last five. Lots of goals and not too many goals against. So if you are watching anything in the world of soccer, you're probably very caught up on Kylian Mbappe and all that's going on with Real Madrid, even though they're struggling. But please, take a peek at these youngsters. I urge you, a lot of these names are going to be names for the future that you're going to be like, I think I do remember him saying something about that back in the day. So I'm just trying to get you out ahead of the hype train. Go check these guys out. If you love football, you love soccer, you're going to love watching them play. Like Mitch said, they're playing together and they're enjoying it. Before we close today's show, shout out to Eric Holtz, my boy. He's going to be coming in occasionally, giving us a little bit of Sacramento Kings content.
Oh, boy.
So he'll be our first.
Town in the house.
Yes, sir. He'll be our first guest analyst, and we are going to have him for our NBA season preview. So for all you guys who are Sac fans, you should be excited. We're going to bring some content for you guys. You can go ahead and start dropping y'all opinions because there'll be somebody to answer them. So if you got any King-related stuff in the comments, feel free. Obviously, you guys aren't going to be dropping the same kind of comments Dubs fans are dropping.
Right, because we actually win and they... Ugh. So we'll try and boost our boys' spirits. I know he's got De'Aaron Fox and Domantas Sabonis, but not as many dubs as the Warriors. So still a little bro. I know they beat us in the playoffs. That's their claim to fame and their highlight over the last 15, 20 years. But still a little bro.
Right. But we will see you. Eric Holt's going to bring some real dope stuff. That's my boy. He's a legend. Mm-hmm. So very excited to have our first guest analyst. As you know, we'll always maintain here, holding it down for you guys. But we just wanted to give y'all a heads up. We got some new stuff coming. Sir. So on to the next week. We'll be here next week. We'll be live and healthy, ready to go. Mm-hmm. And we'll have, of course, a bunch of new sports for y'all. So another week in the books. Much love from the Say Something fam. Yes, see y'all next week.